Hello and welcome. It's me, Marls44. Welcome back to another Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight area, deck profile. Today's deck profile, we have the Overlord that has risen, and he is so great! Yeah, I don't know. Perdition Emperor Dragon, Dragonic Overlord the Great. So, yeah, with the release of BT17 Ver.e, this bad boy is out, and man, what a doozy this thing is. I think this card's really solid at, this deck's very, very solid at retiring stuff, and also, you know, keeping up the pressure. It's very good in that regard. It's not all Vanguard pressure like the end is, but I think they both have their benefits when playing each. Anyways, enough about talking about both differences of the decks. Let's hop right into the deck profile. Very strong deck, though. This is also, by the way, the thumbnail will be there, the Perdition Dragon Vortex Dragonewt 2.0. So the thumbnail to the 1.0 will be there if you want to see the more this card-based style. But if you're focusing on the better build, it's both of them. Both of them together is better. Anyways, let's go ahead and start the deck profile. Man, Tarayev didn't make me scroll because there weren't enough cards. Why are there so many cards? Alright, so it started as Red Pulse Dracokid. Same thing. You know, helps you get your Persona Blasts for both cards. Because I believe it's like one of them's a Persona Kill. The other one's a Persona Blast. But either way, it's both Personas. And with that, there's so much more importance to get the card. And just helps you find, well, there's no right grade 3 first. But, yeah, just helps you with that. And then on to a grade 3s. For Dragonic Overlord the Great. So, if you don't know what he does, his Legion mate is Perdition Dragon, Dragonic Neoflame. And his Legion skill is Counterblast 1, choose 2 cards from your hand, discard them. At the end of the battle, let this unit attack the rear guard. If this unit is Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand all your Vanguard. And it can't be used for the rest of the turn. And even if you do not pay the cost, this ability cannot be used for the rest of the turn. So that means if you don't attack, if you don't restand, you can't use it again. You have to restand right away. And then his other skill is choose one of your rear guards with the same name as a unit on your Vanguard circle and retire it. When this unit attack hits, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So helps keep up pressure. Kill something for something else, but after you've already, you know, hit something, you're just like, okay, let's retire something. But pretty solid card. It works very well with his Legion mate in when something gets retired. It can retire something, and then, you know, you use his second skill to retire something as well. And it's like, okay, so you retire 2 things by just killing 1, basically. Alright, and a counterblast. But it's pretty solid in, you know, given the pressure of this card, Overlord, still retires a lot while bringing on the restanding pressure. You know, giving extra crits, power to certain places. So very solid in that way. And yeah, just very strong card as well. And then we have 4 Perdition Dragon Vortex Dragonewt. So I've already explained him. You know, the deal 4 damage. I should probably re-explain him in case you don't watch the 1.0. So, Legion mate Perdition Dragon, Whirlwind Dragon, Legion skill Counterblast 2. Choose a card with the same. The name is the same unit on your as a unit on your Vanguard circle. Same name. From your hand and discard it. If this unit is in Legion, choose up to 2 of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire them. Then, if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone is 4 or less, choose one of your opponent's Vanguard, deal it 1 damage, and during the damage check, the triggers are nullified and can't be used for the rest of the turn. Other skill, when one of your opponent's rear guards is put into the drop zone during your main phase, it gains 3,000 power until the end of the turn. So, it's like a power-up. Now the thing is, with this card, it's very good in this deck because it can help pressure your opponent to 5 damage, keep the retiring up, and it's just very good combo with the deck, because it's like both cards can constantly retire and deal pressure with either power sorry, power or restanding and or dealing a damage like this card does. But it does have it does have its different purposes in the deck. The one thing is I've noticed when playing this deck that there's really no Vanguard that like I think it's better to end with the Great, because once they're at once you've used his skill to push them at 5 damage, you can use the Great to try to finish off the rest of their rear guards and apply pressure that way by also applying pressure to their Vanguard when you restand. Because, you know, they're at 5 damage, so you can just kind of knock away the rear guards, kind of get rid of everything else they have, and then try to go for the Vanguard for the win. But really, in both concepts, whether you try to end with him, Dragonewt, or the Great, or whichever one you try to begin with, it is quite similar. You're still doing a lot of retiring and everything. I just think the Great has a little more pressure on the later game of the scale, but they both have a lot of pressure, both early and later on. Dragonewt's power is always very threatening, though, so that could be something that you could see as better on late game too, but it's still quite threatening earlier, because it's like, oh, I can't guard this, I have to take, oh, I can't guard this, I have to take damage, I gotta guard this. So it still works early on too. That's why I feel they both have, it's not like you have to be picky about which one you use first, it just changes up the way you play the rest of the game. So this deck's very consistent because of that, and very, very strong because of that too, because either or, whichever one's first, you just use the other one later, and normally you'll be okay because they're both really strong, both late and early game, in their different ways, and the different ways with the deck, so it's very, very good. And now moving on to our grade 2s, we have 4 Perdition Dragon Whirlwind Dragon. So, you know, 12k beater, if you have a Vanguard with Perdition in his card name. Easy. And now we have the other Legion Mate, the Legion Mate of Overlord the Great. Only 3 of them, though, and I'll explain why in just a moment. His name is Perdition Dragon Dragonic Neoflame, and his skill is when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, until end of turn this unit gets auto rearguard. Counterblast 1 when your opponent's rearguard is in the same column as this unit is put into the drop zone. You pay the cost if you do choose one of your opponent's rearguards in the same column as the unit and retire it. So basically you can abuse him by, like, you know, you call him, counterblast, the Great sacrifices maybe him, or maybe there's another the Great on the other side of the board, like on your left side, and you could just sacrifice the Great and you don't have to kill off this guy, but so, you know, you don't lose, like, shield. But you sacrifice either or to kill a unit in the same column as this guy, and then you use his skill by counterblasting one and killing another unit. So that's how it works well with it. Now the reason a lot of people play 3 of these guys and don't play 4, and there's a big reason why. It opens up another slot you need for some other cards that are more important. And I know that sounds funny with it being a Legion Mate, but this card as Legion Mate isn't great. It works well with the Great. Get it? It's not great, but okay, I'll shut up. But the fact is, it's only when it's called to rearguard circle, and it's a little tricky to use sometimes, and you have to be more precise and know what to do. But it's more that it's really, it only works when you call it on rearguard circle. After that, it's kind of just a 9k card Legion Mate. I mean, you can put it back in your deck with Legion, so it's not horrible, but it's still not as great as some other cards that could just knock cards right out and stuff. And it's not as strong as some other cards. It's not one of the best Legion Mates. The deck's very strong, but this card's just not one of the best Legion Mates, and that's why you play 3. Yeah. And then we have 3 Perdition Dragon Menace Laser Dragon. Now, some people like to play 2, and some people like to play 3 of these. So, if you want to go ahead and play 2, go ahead. the reason I play 3 of these is because I looked at the back of some of the stuff and made some room, and I was trying to look at what was important, what was not, and you know, what was a huge deal. And this card's very, very strong of the fact you call it Counterblast 1 when it's placed on rearguard circle. If you have a Vanguard with Perdition in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 20 of your opponent's rearguards in the same column as this unit and you retire it. So same thing as the Great's Legion Mate, but it's better because it's like a Berserk Dragon. It has to be in the same column, but it's like a Berserk Dragon with one less cost. Only difference, same column as this unit, but it's you can use it whenever. You don't have to, oh, a card has to be retired this turn, or else the skill doesn't work. And then that's the thing with the Overlord's the Great's Legion Mate is something has to be retired that turn, or else the skill won't go off any other turn because it's only when it's called. That's why it's kind of but I play 3 of these guys because they're very, very good in, you know, help keep early pressure before you have the other guys to retire some stuff and just help solidly. I know, as I said, some people play 2 of these because 2 is normally preferred because you have the Great and Dragonewt using up a lot of the counterblast and retiring. Not a huge amount of counterblast, but you have them retiring quite a bit of stuff. But I just play 3 because I might switch it up and play 3 of another guy, which we're about to go to. 2 Perdition Dragonite Tarayev. So when your opponent's rearguard is put in the same column, when your opponent's rearguard in the same column as the unit is put into the drop zone, if your Vanguard is in Legion, it gets 5,000 power until end of the turn. So it's very good for any time your opponent's in Legion to just apply extra pressure with it getting power. And I was thinking of actually playing 3 of this card. A lot of people play 2 of this, 2 of the Menace Laser, and the same of the Legion Mates. But I found that the Menace Laser is quite important and does make quite a huge difference, and there's a lot of different impacts it can have, and that's why I like playing 3 of it, because it's, you know, very solid of, you know, if you really need it, it's there. If you don't, it's okay. You have it, but it's a very big, important card, I feel, and that's why I have 3 Menace Laser and 2 of this. If you like, play 3 of this, and play 2 Menace Laser if you find the Menace Laser a little much. I mean, you don't always have to counterblast with Menace Laser. Don't feel obligated to do that. Because that's something I did at first, and I was like, I really don't have to. But, yeah, but this card's very strong. It's, you know, help pushing for late game and just help add extra pressure with that plus 5,000, especially because this deck doesn't have the grade 1 version. So, yeah, with that, this is a very solid card, and everybody plays it. Everybody on the sun. Alright, let's move on to the great ones and not take forever. So 4 Perfect Guards, Perdition Dragon, Rampart Dragon. And then 4 Dragon Monk Gojo. Drop and draw, helps you get Legion quicker. And very good cycling card as well to find cards you might need. And just throw triggers back in the deck too, if you really want to. But it's better to use them as shield and then throw them away. But yeah, you could, yeah, good cycling card basically. Just beautiful. Yeah. I don't know why I said that thing about the triggers. Don't do that. I was just having some fun joking around. And then we have 3 Perdition Battle Maleikoh. Soul Blast 1 during your main phase when your opponent's rearguard is put in the same column as the unit is put into the drop zone. If you have Vanguard with Perdition in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your damage zone and turn face up. So with this card, 7k booster, very strong. I know there's a Soul Blast 2 on Flip 2, but there's a more important 5k Soul Blast 2 card that you want to play in the deck, because it's more solid, more consistent, and just everything. And this card does its good result. You only need like a couple Soul Blasts, maybe 3, so 2 to 3 at most, and at least and at most 2 to 3 Soul Blasts from this guy. So it's not like you need a huge amount. And some people play 4 in this deck. You can if you want to. You know, take out Menace Laser and play 4 of these if you want to. But I feel like 4 is too much and 3 is perfect just because you only want like 2 or 3 of the Soul Blasts, and that's really it. Because you get a few Soul Blasts for, alright, Menace Laser, Starter, and your Legion Mate, if your Legion Mate goes off, which sometimes it should. And then there's your 2 Vanguards, and that's really it. And maybe you pull a couple heals, and you could do some other stuff, or a heal. But you really don't need this guy as much as you think in this deck. He can help you get Legion again faster too with the Soul Blast. But yeah, he's a solid damage unflipper, and I'm just trying to explain why, you know, you really don't need 4 because 4 is a little overkill. I feel I use the Menace Laser more as 3 than having this card as 4, which is better because retiring a unit. It's better to use your Counterblast than to not use them at all and just keep on flipping them. But yeah, it's a very, very, very good card. It's just, I really do feel like 4 is overkill in this deck, and 3 is very solid and just a perfect number. Because you don't need overly too many Soul Blasts. You just need like 2 to 3, as I said. Anyways, moving on to Calamity Tower Wyvern. So your Soul Blast to draw a card gives you free +1. The free +1 is better than the unflip, especially because you don't have to unflip overly much anyways. Because you already have the other guy, and if you took out the other guy and put in the Soul Blast to unflip, for 1, that's a little lot of the Soul Blast. And for 2, that's too many 5Ks and makes the columns weak-ish. So that's another problem. So yeah, 2 Calamity Tower Wyvern. I'm just explaining why I play this card, because I know some people might say, you know, why don't you play the damage on flipper? Well, there's a reason why, and that's the reason. Well, 2 reasons that actually can be a fact. You go through your soul too fast, and it'll make inconsistent columns, or, well, and then if you place him with it, you have too many damage on flippers. Makes sense? Good. But yeah, like, you'll probably only use like 4 to 5 cards Soul Blasting as well, so just, well, 4 to 5, yeah. So yeah. Anyways, on to triggers. So 4 Perdition Dragon, Buster Rain Dragon, and 4 Perdition Knight Tovare. So 8 crit, and then 4 Gattling Claw. Of course, you always have to kill starters. So 4 draw, and then 4 Perdition Dancer Agafia. So 4 heal. Standard trigger in the lineup. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. Very, very standard, but a very solid and strong deck overall. A good Legion deck and just a lot of fun to use, abuse, and, well, kill off everything on your opponent's field because it's fun, because you can always do that with these types of deck. It's too much fun. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Deck list will be in the description below. As always, remember to like, comment, go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And that's about it. We'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more videos from me, on the left, there are Let's Play videos, so you can go and check those out. And if you guys aren't up for that, on the right, there are Cardfight Vanguard videos, so you can go and check that out. And if you're still not up for those, I have Super Smash Bros., Pokemon, and a Versus series on my channel, so you can go to my channel and check that out. Also, down below is my review channel, where I do reviews, countdowns, game chats, which is like a podcast, and more. And don't forget to check out my Twitter, Facebook, and Skype, all listed at the top there. That is all. Hope you guys enjoy.